such good shit!
Hey, it's Mark Rodriguez here. You're watching another episode of the Diving Cutter podcast, and with me is...
Johnny Rodriguez. It's always a good, welcoming back here at this podcast.
Jack from Jackknives Reviews.
Will, a.k.a. NinjaPanda 1980 on Instagram.
And I am the real deal, DJF, returning back to the podcast. Happy to be back, guys. Let's get going with this.
Alright, guys, so today we're going to be talking mostly about AEW Double or Nothing 2021. And but before we get too deep into that, it's going to be our usual predictions. We'll write them down and stuff. We'll see who wins or whatever. And then in the next episode, after the pay-per-view, we'll, compare who actually won with our predictions and all that good stuff. But, and yes, a couple of people are busy tonight, so there's no Ricky Rocks and there's no Chuck Rodriguez. They got stuff to do. Oh, actually, Ricky Rocks is at one of his events. They got the trifecta going on now, and he's actually doing color commentary on it, so it's pretty cool. So they've been inviting him back constantly. He's either in the ring or doing commentary, and I believe there's chances where sometimes he does both, because sometimes they got more than one pay-per-view event going on at the same time. So Ricky Rocks may not be here, but he's not slouching. He's out there calling the shots as the matches go on. That's pretty cool. Before we go into the event, though, let's talk a bit of, the basic news and things going on in the wrestling world.
In the world of New Japan Pro Wrestling, unfortunately, the newly crowned Will Ospreay, who is the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, he recently won it. He just successfully defended it in a 6-star match with the Dragon Shingo Takagi. Unfortunately, he had to go to the doctor, and they haven't really quite revealed what they discovered, but they discovered something that required him to get immediate emergency neck surgery, and because of that, he has to vacate the title. So, as of right now, it's kind of up in the air what they're going to do with the World Championship, because it's very rare in New Japan where the World Champion vacates, so they're kind of not too sure what they're going to do right now, and that's pretty much it right now. It's kind of keeping it up in the air. Yeah.
We also have the surprise passing of New Jack, and that was pretty recent. I mean, it wasn't too long ago. He was actually at one of those wrestling events with Ricky Rocks. He kind of came in, people were getting rowdy. He came in, he shut things down quick, But I'm just surprised that, damn.
Yeah, he had he's a controversial guy, but I think everyone could safely say he is one of a kind. He was a one-of-a-kind guy. But, I believe it was a drug, I think it was drug-related heart attack. Because it's not that he did drugs, it's that he's done it for so long that his heart gave out. I think he was 53? It really wasn't that old. So, another loss to the wrestling world. The only one I know is it is officially confirmed that at Triple Mania, the upcoming Triple Mania, which is the big WrestleMania-esque style for AAA wrestling, that Kenny Omega is going to be defending the AAA Super Championship against the recently released Andrade. So he is going to be fighting at AAA's Triple Mania. So that's going to be one hell of a match. And on top of that, Kenny Omega is also going to have to defend the Impact World Championship against Moose, who is also a fantastic wrestler. So Kenny Omega's got 2 other challenges coming around the pipeline.
I also heard that, Don Callis, or whatever his name is, Don Callis, is no longer with Impact?
Yeah, he actually gave up, it was supposed to say secret, but Don Callis actually gave up his rights as, he was co-chairman of Impact Pro Wrestling. So he was kind of like second in command, but he gave it up to sign a full-time contract as Kenny Omega's manager, which to me is a stupid decision, because that would be the equivalent of leaving a Fortune 500 company to become a barista at Starbucks. But that's me personally, just because you kind of write your own checks when you're at that state. But, to each their own, I guess.
So he'll still be Kenny Omega, and then I guess the Bullet Club, whatever they call themselves now. He'll still be in AEW. He's just gonna, I guess, leave Impact or something, or like I don't, because won't he still be Kenny Omega's guy whenever he comes back to Impact to defend the title? Like you said, the match against Moose and all that. Like how does that work?
Well, this is what's so funny. So basically, when Kenny Omega beat Rich Swann and became the Impact and TNA, because they unified the titles. When they unified the titles, Scott D'Amore, who's their version of the general manager, Scott D'Amore flat out made it in his contract that anyone who won the Impact title would have to show up every single week. So there was a whole snafu. Kenny Omega didn't want to show up, but he did show up. So he has to be on Impact every week. Like, he's contractually obligated to be on Impact Pro Wrestling every week. So, I honestly think it's only going to be a matter of time before Kenny just gets worn out, and he's either going to lose one or all of his belts eventually. Because he has to show up on Impact and AEW. So, I think it's just a matter of time right now. You know, he's kind of chomping at the bit, and I think it's going to bite him at some point. Probably not soon, but some point it's going to bite him.
All right, well, with that, let's start the matches here. Again, this AEW Double or Nothing 2021 edition. We'll go with the kind of the order you see Wikipedia and stuff, but we always save like the major championship matches and the main events for last, of course. I think the first match to cover, just to kind of get out of the way, because this is the whole who knows who's gonna win kind of match, is let me see here. The Casino Battle Royale for future AEW World Championship match. And the way it works for people that still have not seen this kind of match before is 4 guys come in, all representing the different cards. Like, 4 people will be the hearts, the clubs, the spades, the diamonds. And then finally there'll be like a random Joker card. And, whoever wins everyone, defeats everyone. And I guess they get the poker chip or whatever. They'll have a future match. And so far, the people that we know, because, we're still a week away, that might change. We got Christian Cage, we got Matt Sindel, Powerhouse Hobbs, Penta El Cero Miedo, Jungle Boy, Matt Hardy, Mark Queen, Isaiah Cassidy, The Blade, Evil Uno, Colt Cabana, Preston Vance, Griff Garrison, Brian Pillman Jr., Max Caster, Anthony Bowens, QT Marshall, Nick Camarado, Dustin Rhodes, Lee Johnson, and TBA, whoever the missing slots. And of course, Jordan the Joker is also like, a mystery and stuff like that. So, yeah, place your bets, ladies and gentlemen. Who do you think is going to win this pick'em, this slobber knocker?
I got Christian Cage on this one. Mainly because he's a familiar face, so of course trying to put him in, further into the AEW roster, this would definitely give him a big push. So yeah, I got Christian Cage on this one.
Okay, yeah, I don't know why there's some audio problems. Okay, I'm gonna repeat so I can Odyssey, because I'm really like super out of ideas on this one. I'll just bet on Christian Cage and see what happens. He wins.
I mean, I want to probably go with Christian Cage too, because the whole motto of outwork everyone. I mean, this is his chance to prove it. The TVA people, I don't know. I would find it very interesting. I wouldn't say he would win if he enters, but it would be interesting since they got Kenny Omega defending the title against Sergio Andrade. I am curious, what if Sergio Andrade pops up around here too? Who knows? As long as it's not the real, you know what I mean?
Yeah, if I'm trying to
What do you think,
there,
DJF?
I'm going to lose it.
What do you think, DJF?
I got to go with the majority here. I'm looking at the list of guys in this Battle Royal, and it's the equivalent of like a WWE Royal Rumble. You're going to have the jobbers out there who are just going to basically be filler guys. Like, a guy like Evil Uno's not going to win. Mark Quinn's not going to win. Griff Garrison's certainly not going to win. You got to look at the 2 biggest options here. And in my opinion, it's got to be Christian Cage and Powerhouse Hobbs. Hobbs, just because of the ongoing feud with Christian Cage. I could see them being the final 2. And I think Christian just gets the win here. He needs to be in that main event title picture at some point. He doesn't necessarily need the belt, but I think he's got that star power, which helps draw more eyes to that main event picture, and he's still got a lot to prove. I mean, he didn't get a shot to really make a second run at it with the WWE, so this is his chance to make that run. And as far as like who the Joker is going to be, you know, if this was like 3 months down the road, I'd easily throw like Samoa Joe's name out there, but I really don't know who the Joker could be. It's interesting how they look at that. I mean, you could throw a woman in there. You could throw a guy from Impact, like a Sami Callihan or something in there. You could even shock the world and bring somebody from like New Japan over, like, you know, like an Okada. I mean, like if Okada comes in and wins this, I mean, I could see him coming in, cashing in, and going after Kenny Omega. I mean, that would be a huge money match in itself. But I think for now, I think Christian Cage is what you'd call a safe bet in this Rumble.
I mean, yeah, I would think. I'm thinking that it most likely will be a. I hope they don't pull what they did the last pay-per-view, where, you know, the mystery person was just Ethan Page, and nothing against Ethan Page. I think he's a very talented wrestler, but when you do this every pay-per-view, you kind of have an expectation that you keep trying to set for yourself. So I'm hoping that this time the TBA will be someone big, like legitimately big. But as of right now, you know what? Just to be contrarian, I know everyone's gonna pick Christian Cage. I'm just gonna say shot in the dark, Penta El Zero Miedo. Just because I think he's slowly getting better as a singles competitor, and I would like to see him fight Kenny Omega, to be honest. The first time they fought was at the very first All In, and they had a hell of a match. I'd like to see it again. I think they would put up a good fight together. So that's my guess.
All right, so we got everyone voting for Cage, and we've got except for Jack the Contrarian Knives going for Penta Cero Miedo. So we'll see how that goes. All right, so the next match we got here, we're gonna just get this one also kind of out of the way, and of course, who knows if there's other matches in the pre-show buy-in, but we can't really talk about them until we find out what they are, you know. But right now we got Cody Rhodes with Arn Anderson versus Anthony Ogogo with QT Marshall, Nick Comoroto, and Aaron Solo, and it's kind of hard to say. I really want to say Cody because it just looks like a typical match that just Cody's going to win. But again, there's like the numbers. You know, we got the numbers there. I have a feeling that shit's going to go down. And when he's about to win, Marshall and the boys will all come in. There'll be a big clusterfuck because Cody's going to probably have his Nightmare family too. It'll be a clusterfuck. It's hard to say. I don't know. I mean, for the sake of it, I'll say Cody will win. But, I mean, there's a chance he might lose due to the shenanigans. But I'll still go with Cody anyway.
I don't know. I really don't think it's going to be Cody. Mainly because he writes himself off as the underdog way too much as far as it goes. Like you said, there's going to be a lot of shenanigans. There's going to be a lot of crap popping up. So, yeah, as much as I would like for Cody to win it, I'm going to go with Anthony Ogogo.
I think I'll be contrarian, and I'll also say, you know, Cody Rhodes.
This is the problem. The problem is Anthony Ogogo, even though he's a former Olympian boxer and he does have a really good boxing record, he barely has any in-ring experience. I mean, apparently he's barely been wrestling. So it's kind of like, I mean, maybe I haven't really seen him wrestle much, so I'm not too sure. I mean, really, I think they're trying to build up this bigger feud with the Nightmare family, or whatever the hell they're called, the one with QT. And I think I'm going to go with Anthony winning. I think I'm going to go with Anthony Ogogo as well. Just because it would make no sense that they would have him on his first show lose, especially if they're going to put like this big a high-profile match.
You know, this is an interesting matchup because, you know, Jack spoke about how Anthony doesn't have a ton of experience under his belt. And I think the question is going to be, can Cody carry him to a favorable matchup? Or is it just going to kind of be the shits, as they say? Because Anthony may not have that experience to back him up. watching his match against Austin Gunn, there was a lot of punches thrown, but there wasn't a lot of actual wrestling being shown by Anthony. So I think it's tough. Do you have him come out and lose in his first matchup, on pay-per-view against Cody Rhodes? And like it was mentioned earlier, he is the quintessential underdog, but it gets boring after a while. Like, Cody needs to be booked as a strong face who gets wins all the time because he's Cody Rhodes. And nobody's buying the underdog, root for me shtick. And that god-awful promo he cut a couple of weeks ago, I actually felt more like I was pulling for a go-go going into this match because the promo was just so, atypical. Anthony's from overseas and he's the bad guy, and USA, America. It's just like, it's so played out. You don't need a foreign heel to face the American babyface. You just don't need it. I think Cody needs more than this, but I think Anthony needs to win more, so I'm going to pick Anthony to win.
Yeah, I heard that promo sucked. I missed it, but I heard so many bad things about it.
It ran on and on for far too long, and it was just so played out, and he tried to be this big hero for America. Nobody's buying Cody as an American hero. It's just not who he is, and it's just such a played out storyline. As fans, I don't know about you guys, but I'm over the whole American versus foreign heel storyline. This isn't 1987. We don't need that. Just go out there, have a great match, and, we'll pull for the guy we want to have win. Doesn't matter which country they're from.
The big problem is Cody is so desperate to be his dad. But the difference is, Dusty didn't have to tell you he was fighting for you. He just did. And Cody doesn't have that. I don't know. He doesn't have the ability to not stroke his own ego.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of more apropos to how Cody is. He's just more about how he's seen than how he is in the ring. And I think if he focused more on his in-ring ability, which is good, he's very good and he's good in the ring. But if he focused more on that and less on how his appearance was, he comes off less like his dad and more like heel Ric Flair, but not in the way that he should. Like, if you're going to be like heel Ric Flair, be like heel Ric Flair. Like, Ric Flair talked a lot of smack, but he proved himself in the ring. Cody has done the first half right, not so much the second half.
Completely agree with that.
I don't think American Dream Dusty Rhodes would approve of that tattoo.
Yeah, and just for a little hit of humor value, is it just me or does Cody Rhodes in those suits look a lot like Geese Howard from the old Fatal Fury games, or is it just me?
He does! I was thinking about it, too. I was really thinking, man, he looks like Geese Howard. I just want him to go, like... Oh, my God. I was just like, I just want him to beat someone, then get on the mic and go, too easy. Like...
Exactly. You know what? Like, dress up the Young Bucks like Hopper and Ripper and just have him come out with like a KOF flag behind him.
Yeah, he literally just needs he needs a throne and a guy and two suited guys on each side when he walks in the ring, or when he shows up from that weird pillar thing he comes out of. Just have him on a throne, and then two guys in suits with sunglasses like right next to him. And I'm like, yeah, he is Geese Howard.
Have him counter a throw, predictable, and all that.
Your fight was predictable. He's like, no! But he needs to be less like Geese Howard and more like Terry Bogard.
Exactly, but it would still be funny if his finisher was the evac toss instead of the crossroads.
It would. I would be like, oh, he got it.
Versus Kenny Omega, because they're both weaves. He'd be like predictable, and he's like, Nani?
Nani? Yeah. No, well, what's his name? Kenny did a promo. It's kind of a segment. Kenny did when they were releasing Street Fighter 5, I think, or like the collector's edition.
Yeah, no, it was
like Cody.
Yeah, because Cody was appearing in Street Fighter 5.
Yeah, he was dressed like Mayor Cody. So I'm like, man, just have him dress like Mayor Cody, and then like have Cody dress like Geese Howard.
Oh, and
things would be so much better.
Extra fun fact: Xavier Woods was the guy on the phone.
AEW would actually set up a better Capcom versus SNK than Capcom did.
Oh wait, Oh, Xavier was the guy on the phone?
Yeah, doing the whole threatening thing like in Final Fight.
Oh, that's funny. That is so.
No, he, not so
But yeah,
fast, Mr. Cody. Turn on your TV. Like that was him.
That's great.
All right. So, anyways, guys, on to the next part here. I'm just gonna get these
Wait,
kind of.
you didn't say yours. You didn't say yours.
No, I didn't
Who
say
did
it was
you
gonna
pick?
be Cody. I was saying like I'm predicting shenanigans, but I'm still thinking Cody's gonna win anyway.
Oh, that's right. Sorry. Erase
Oh,
this
no
part.
problem. Next one we got here is Hangman Adam Page versus Brian Cage with Taz, and I don't know, man. I think I'm gonna give it to Cage because Cage is a fucking beast. I know that Hangman's gonna do, the best he possibly can and all that, and show off his skill, show off he's a fighter, he's a scrapper and all that. But I mean, fucking Brian Cage, yo. Like damn. Then we got Team Taz. I would not be surprised that, if it looks like he's gonna win, he's gonna do the buckshot lariat or whatever. The rest of the team comes in, they do their usual shenanigans or whatever, and then Taz gets him in the drill claw and wins it. So I'm gonna give it to Brian Cage. And also, we need to see Brian Cage destroy people. He's been too much of one of those, run-in thugs for too long. We need him in an actual match and just see him, just wreck people.
Yeah, again, I'm gonna have to agree with you. I'll give it to Brian Cage, mainly because it's a numbers game, and Page is by himself. There's gonna be a buttload of shenanigans, of course, with Taz's crew and the, as I like to call them, the Ab Squad, because that's all you see when they run across the room. But yeah, that's pretty much gonna be it. I give it to Brian Cage.
Oh wait, I forgot. I almost forgot that Adam Page does have the Dark Order in his sight too, though. But I'll still give it to Cage anyway.
Okay, so for this match, I'm gonna go with everybody's prediction, and I think Brian Cage, probably has a shot in this. I mean, he is a big powerhouse, and like what you guys said, it would good to actually see him in a more like legit fight. See how good he actually is as a wrestler. Shot, yeah, I think Brian Cage has a shot.
I mean, he's one of those guys that impresses you with just how fucking fast he is and how light on his speed he is, despite like how fucking jacked he is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that part.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the majority here, and I'm gonna say Brian Cage gets the win. And I don't know necessarily if it's gonna be shenanigans that cost Page it, as far as directly costing him. I think there's gonna be, the Dark Order is gonna start feuding with Team Taz. Something's gonna happen. It's gonna distract him. Potentially somebody, slips in, does something to Adam Page, maybe gets his attention. He turns around, walks right into, powerbomb, the cage driller, whatever the case. Brian Cage needs to go over on this one. He's been coming in as a lackey for too long, and this dude needs to start racking up wins. He is a beast. And like you said, he's so fast. For a man of his size, you don't expect him to be so quick, so agile. He's light on his feet. He's got like cruiserweight speed with a heavyweight body, and you put that together, and he is exactly what you would want in your main event picture. The guy can deliver, and I think Adam's kind of fallen down the card a little bit. I think he's lost some momentum, and I think it's time that Brian starts racking up some wins, and eventually he's going to leave Team Taz. I think he needs to strike out on his own and go after bigger and better things, and I think it starts with this match.
It's time for Mr. Jack Knives.
You know what? Honestly, I was thinking about it. Like, what sucks is, like, it feels like they don't know what they're doing with either of them. I'm sorry to say that, but it feels like they really don't know what they're doing with either Cage or with Hangman. So, with that being said, I agree. Basically, it comes down to who I think needs the win more. And Cage doesn't have the safety net of the elite, like, behind the scenes. So, I'm going to say Cage wins.
All right, that's all four of us for Brian Cage. Holy shit.
DJF
better
didn't
win the match, damn it.
Yeah, DJF didn't go yet.
I think he just did, didn't he, before you?
I did. I went right before him. I went with Cage.
No problem.
You better listen to me when I talk, buddy. All right? Don't ignore me. All right? There's a reason I'm called the real deal. All right? Show some respect.
So next we have Miro, who is the current AEW TNT champion, going up against Lance Archer, who of course is backed by Jake the Snake Roberts. And I want to give it to Miro. Obviously, it's going to be a badass match. It's going to be, because Lance Archer's a fucking monster too, you know what I mean? So it'll be just, because now that Miro finally dropped his whatever the fuck goofy stick he had when he first came in, now he's like fucking Bulgarian beast. Now he's fucking just growl, destroy, Miro smash, and all that stuff. And I like that promo. I did like the part like I'm coming after the belt. It's like, if you got a belt, you got a problem, and all that. So he just won the title. I really don't want to drop it that quick, because why even fucking bother? This is Miro's chance to like stand out. This is his chance to show off, like, why the fuck did we even sign this guy in the first place, Now he's being an absolute savage. I think Archer has already built himself up to be a savage. He can still afford this loss. I mean, yeah, there's still time to build him up some more. He's had his chance to wreck people and shit too, So I think he can afford this loss. It's time to build up Miro some. I mean, if they play it right, they could actually make it a feud between the two for a while. Maybe have Archer win it later on or something. But yeah, there should be a fucking awesome, just raw savagery between the two of them. I still want Miro to win. I just really hate, like, super short streaks. I won the belt, I lost it the next day. I hate that shit. So for the sake of having Miro stand up on top, have him win, Wait, what was that now?
I said, Rey Mysterio.
Yeah, I know. Dude, that thing with Zack Ryder. What the fuck was that shit? Like, I know he wasn't even supposed to be in the match officially, but like, yay, he won the title. Oh my god, WWE is finally making unpredictable. Oh no, The Miz won the next day. Never mind, fuck you all.
Are you trying to imply that WWE makes terrible booking decisions? Because I will have you know, Doink the Clown is a national treasure.
Hey, I know about wrestling and the future of wrestling. You guys don't know shit. The Gobbledygooker versus Gilbert will be the biggest match in WrestleMania, and that's good shit.
Who doesn't want to see John Cena versus R-Truth main event a pay-per-view?
Are you kidding me? I give my right eye.
All right, so who's next?
I think it would just be stupid. I'm going to say Miro, because it would literally be the dumbest. I honestly think it would literally ruin his momentum and possibly ruin any sort of push in AEW if Miro lost the title. Because he just won it, like not even a month ago. It'd be stupid for him to drop it this quickly.
I mean, he won it just this past week, right? Like just this past week or the week before?
Or was it, I think it was like 2 weeks ago. But yeah. But like I said, it hasn't even been a month since he won it. It would make no sense that he's done this, considering since he's been here or on AEW, all he's been is let's call it what it is. Kip Sabian's bitch. That's all he's done. He's been what Wardlow is to MJF. That's what he's been. He just follows him around and mostly tag teams. He's had barely any singles matches. He squashes a couple of randos, and he hasn't had a big profile match except for the one time for the TNT title. And wouldn't you know it, he wins. It's almost like getting the big guy a push would be a good thing. So I think it would make no sense for Miro to lose. So my pick is Miro.
I totally agree with you on that one. Yeah, he's been Sabian's buddy for a bit too long, and it is time for him to shine solo. It would be ridiculous for them to just, have him that night. I mean, that plus you have like a Battle of the Big Men feud, which will keep some of the WWE folks happy. I mean, let's just be real about it. So yeah, I'm gonna give it to Miro.
I think this match comes down to being one of those gimme matches where it's like it's a freebie on the card. There's no way in hell Miro wins the belt 2 weeks ago, defeating somebody like Darby Allin, who had just defeated every person that they threw in front of him. He was just able to overcome everything. Miro not only beat him, he crushed him. He did exactly what he needed to do. He established his dominance over him. He brought the belt home with him. Lance Archer, I love this guy. I think he's another guy, much like maybe even Adam Page and Brian Cage. They're not really sure what to do with him. He's got a lot of great talent. He's got a great look. He can talk, but where do you put him? Lance, he's just kind of floating right now. And as much as I want to see Lance get a big push, this is Miro's time. This is Miro's time to shine. It's his title run. It will be for a long time, I believe. And I think Lance needs to contact Terry Smith, reform Killer Elite Squad, and bring some destruction over to the tag division. I'd love to see two big dudes just running roughshod over some of these tag teams and give him some direction. And Miro can go about establishing his run as the TNT champion. I'm good with that.
Hell yeah. I 100% agree with that. And you know what's funny? I was literally just thinking about this. I'm like, I could literally just see the booking behind it. They're like, well, we have Brian Cage, we have Lance Archer, and we have Miro. What do we do? And then the Bucks are like, but can they do flips? No. Can they get on the top rope and do a handstand? No. We'll figure out something later, guys.
Sadly, I have a feeling that's actually how that meeting went.
It's literally a reverse of the WWF in the 80s. It's like we have all these big guys, we don't know how to book small guys. They have all these small guys that don't know how to book big guys.
Okay, so I'm gonna go with everybody else prediction, and because Miro just won the title, and I think it is his time to shine. They have to, really show him what he's made of, and just give Miro a shot. Actually win that.
All right, guys. So the next matchup here is one of the big ones, the single match for the AEW Women's World Championship, which is, of course, our favorite champion here, Hikaru Shida, or Hikaru Shida, depending on who you are. Going up against Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, who is accompanied by Reba, or Rebel, but, she always called her Reba. And also for plug, at the upcoming Steel City Con, Britt Baker herself will be there, and that's fucking awesome. And hopefully, nothing gets in my way or whatever. I want to go there. I want to meet her in person. I want her fucking autograph. And, I already got her autograph thanks to Pro Wrestling Crate, plug. But, I mean, I want my photo with her, So, yeah. So, anyways, guys, thoughts? Who's gonna win this one?
I don't know. I got Hikaru Shida on this one, but I just got a strange feeling that at the end of the match, somebody's gonna, literally come in and trounce her, just completely run her over and start a new rivalry.
I think it's finally time for Shida to drop the belt. It makes no sense for her to have it this long. I mean, it seems like they've been building this specific fight with Shida and Britt Baker for so long that it would be so dumb for her not to win. I mean, they've been trying. I mean, let's be honest. Since Britt Baker started, she went from just an okay average wrestler to she's actually been a really good dominant force. And I think between Shida and Britt Baker both having so many good consecutive matches with Thunder Rosa, and I know I love Thunder Rosa, but I really do think she has elevated them higher than they would have been against anyone else on the roster. And that's what she does best. Rosa always has a habit of bringing out the best in her opponents. And it makes perfect sense for Britt Baker to win the title, finally. And I think she could have a great heel run as the champion. As you said the same thing last time, Mark, remember? When you said, why would they have this entire tournament just to have Cheetah lose? Or have the girl lose? Well, that's the same thing now. Why would they be building this one match that they've been trying to build for over a year and a half? But they were supposed to have it for 2 years. But remember, Baker had her leg injury, so she had to be sidelined. But they were building a match with her and Shida, so it would make no sense for Britt Baker to not win this match. So I'm putting, this is the one match I'm like, I know it would make no sense, absolutely zero sense for Britt Baker not to win this. Out of everyone, Miro, everyone else, it could be maybe, but Britt Baker would make no sense for her not to win.
Yeah, I gotta say it. I mean, I don't like, I'm a big fan of Hikaru Shida. She's the one I'm crushing on and all that. So I hate to betray her, but it's just that time. It's that time. I mean, it's really, really, really getting to the point that like, like if Baker can't beat her, then who can? We're running out of people here. We're running out of people and stuff like that. And I mean, she had a good title run. No regrets. I mean, she's had lots of good defenses, lots of close calls, lots of good matches here and there. I mean, she still comes out like a winner. I mean, the thing I bet they're gonna do is that they'll probably make both of them fight like to the most of their ability. The whole who wants it more and all that shit. But then, when it looks like Sheeta's gonna win, Reba's gonna smack her with the fucking fake crutches or whatever, and that's what'll get Baker to win. Like they'll still do it in some way where Sheeta still looks strong, still looks good, and she can walk away, still held up, head held up high. She won't look weak because of it. And yeah, it's about time that Baker's reign of role model terror begins. I'll give it to Britt Baker. I'm just a bit curious of like if she wins, technically speaking, she'll be AEW Women's Champion by the time we go to Steel City Con. I'm wondering if she's gonna bring the belt along with her or what. That'd be fucking awesome. Like in the photo.
So here's the thing that I have. So just a few weeks ago, Britt gets just destroyed by Thunder Rosa. They put on probably one of the best matches, female-wise, in a very long time. That didn't have NXT in front of it. So these two go out there and they destroy each other, and Thunder Rosa wins. She gets the victory. Then they parade her out. They parade Britt Baker out and throw out this, she's the number one contender stuff on the screen. They make this big to-do about it. I'm sorry. No, you're not the number one contender. Thunder Rosa is. Thunder Rosa's where the talent's at. She should be the one fighting Sheeta for the title. But fine. Whatever. If we're going to go with Britt Baker and we're going to pick up on where she should have been before her leg injury.
Oh, but
this is the time for her to win the belt.
That was a non-sanctioned match, though, wasn't it? That's probably why it didn't count.
That's the problem. Right. That's the problem with the whole no sanction thing. Like, if you're going to parade somebody out the following week and say, oh, they're number one contender, following a loss, that's just piss poor storyline telling. There was no need to do that. The only way that works is if now, when she wins, if Thunder Rosa comes out and goes, that's great that you were number one contender, but don't you remember who beat you a week before? And she can say, well, it was unsanctioned. Yes, that's great, but I still beat you, and now that makes me the number one contender. That's what I want to see. And you know what? I don't need shenanigans from Britt Baker to win this belt. She needs to beat Sheeta straight up. If we are going to buy Britt as a legit champion, she needs to get wins under her belt without, the dirty tactics. And I don't think Sheeta loses anything as far as her title reign, her run as champion, with a loss straight up to Britt Baker. There's no shame in that. You don't have to have shenanigans played out to get the belt off for her. It actually makes Britt Baker look more of a legitimate champion if that's what you're going to go for in the storyline. But Britt, this is her time. I don't think I've seen somebody in a long time come out and for weeks and months behind an injury still be one of the most captivating people on TV, because you can't wait to see what she's going to say. She's mouthy. She's a smart ass. She doesn't care how she offends people like Tony Schiavone or anybody else for that matter. So she's got this presence about her when she's on screen. So, and I hate to do this, it's almost like a combination of her being a little bit of Bayley and a little bit of Charlotte Flair, but the good things about those two, which aren't a lot with Charlotte, but you get the point. You take some of the best qualities of those two, and you've got Britt Baker. So I think this is the time. She beats Sheeta straight up. She needs to beat her straight up, and then we can get into relighting that program with Thunder Rosa, and we can just have those two beat the crap out of each other show after show, and I'm good with that.
I agree, but I like to call unsanctioned matches favoritism matches because they did the exact same thing. A lot of people may or may not remember the first year of AEW. Or it was the first year of AEW, they had that one match. It was the unsanctioned match with John Moxley and Kenny Omega.
Yep.
Anyone remember that? So So John Moxley single-handedly destroyed Kenny Omega, but because it was unsanctioned, it kept Kenny Omega undefeated. So that way, by the time he became champion, he was undefeated and became champion. Even though, let's be honest, he lost. And they're doing the exact same thing with Britt Baker. They want her to lose to Thunder Rosa, but they also want to make her look strong. Also, I actually believe this is actually building into the next episode of NWA Power, which I know no one else watches. Thunder Rosa is has a co-signship with NWA and with AEW and several other promotions. Thunder Rosa actually has a match at this upcoming NWA Power that, if she wins, she will be the #1 contender for the NWA Women's title. But if she loses the match, that means, they literally said, if she loses that match, she can never wrestle. She can't wrestle for any other promotion but NWA. So, if that's the case that they're building, then according to that match with Britt Baker could have been Thunder Rosa's last match in AEW. So, I'm just saying, it's a possibility.
That's heartbreaking to think about it going down that way, but you never know with the way companies are doing their business these days. You don't know how it's going to go. So that's an interesting point you brought up.
Okay, so when I think about this match, I'm gonna go like with what almost everybody else is predicting, and I do think that as much talent as Hikaru Shida has, I think it is time for her to lose the belt, and it is time for Britt Baker to actually win this match very square. I know there's a possibility there might be some cheats here and there, but hopefully she can win this very square, so that, you know, as much as a lot of people like Hikaru Shida, let's just like give somebody else a chance, damn it, because just Hikaru Shida winning match after match after match, it's getting pretty repetitive at this point.
Pretty soon she's going to have to change her name from Hikaru Shida to Hikaru Lesnar.
Oh.
Oh, God. So basically everyone's going for Baker, but Ninja Panda still holds out hope for Hikaru Shida to bring it home. So, next up here we got tag team match. Now, I'm not sure if it's a cinematic match or not because Sting is involved, but it's Sting and Darby Allin versus Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page. And I really don't know. I haven't heard any news about this one. I haven't heard if it's going to be a cinematic match or not, because you know how they want to, protect Sting, make sure it doesn't take too many bumps. Unless, of course, they work the match in a way that Darby's in most of it or something, like they sometimes do. I don't know. I kind of want to give it to Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page, because they're just fresher and newer. Darby Allin already, lost and everything, so, whatever for him. Hopefully Sting puts on a good show. But, like Sting also, I mean, he needs some losses, too. He can't just, always win. He can't be portrayed as this unstoppable force if he can, not really wrestle all that much to prove it anyway. So he could afford a loss. So, yeah, I'm going to say they'll probably pin Darby, though, so that, that's not Sting's fault. But yeah, I'll give it to Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page. These guys need a chance to establish themselves,
I agree, but again, it depends on what type of match it is. If it ends up being a cinematic, I know they're going to mostly try to protect Sting, make him look overly well, and, make Darby look pretty good as well. If it's a cinematic, I'm going to give it to Sting and Darby. If it's a regular straight-up match, then yeah, I give it to Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page.
Yeah, I'm not really 100% sure as to why we're going down this road with this storyline. As far as this matchup is concerned, Sting has no business being in the ring right now for his own health and safety, and he has nothing left to prove. So I don't need to see him in a ring. I love seeing him on the outside of the ring or on a mic. That's fine. But Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page, these guys are trying to create a brand for themselves. Now, whether or not it lasts for the both of them or eventually one of them turns on the other, it's their time to start kind of making some headway and start building some steam and credibility. All I do know is that I need Darby Allin versus Ethan Page to pick up from where they left off in their feud on the Indies, because those two beat the living hell out of one another, and I'm hoping that's where this is headed. As far as Scorpio Sky goes, I don't know. It just seemed like a weird time to really break away from SCU. I mean, now that they've completely broken up, I get it now. But, Scorpio's not exactly what you would call a spring chicken. He's not young. He's definitely not the youngest on the roster. He's a great talent, but I don't know what pairing him up with Ethan Page is going to do. I don't know what the end game is with him. So if they're going to be building these guys up, I think it's kind of a given for me that I want to see Sky and Page get the victory. I don't see Sting and Darby walking away from this one with a victory. It doesn't do anything for either one of those men. And I think it's time to kind of push some other people, and let's go with Sky and Page. So that's my pick.
One thing I did want to say, because, you missed a lot of episodes, DJF, is all I'm asking for Sting is at least have one more match here than he ever had in WWE. Like, WWE, as far as I know, he only had the one match against Triple H, which he lost, and the one match against Rollins, which he lost. As long as he has at least 3 matches, just make one more match, at least 3 matches in AEW, I'm good with him just sitting out the rest and becoming, I don't know, a hype man or whatever. But just give him one more match, damn it. And AEW, would this be a second match in AEW? I kind of lost track.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so give him just one more match after that, and then I'm happy with him retiring or being a manager or hanging out with Dean Malenko and DDP in the backstage or whatever. But just give him one more match, yo.
Honestly, that's what I feel is happening with this. It's literally Sting's past the torch door. Like, he's trying to finish it out on his own terms, actually going out as a wrestler, but he's going to try to pass the torch to Darby Allin. I got a feeling that by the end of the year, he's probably going to call it quits.
Okay, so this is a very interesting match, because so Sting talking about and Darby Allin. But, at the same time, Sting is no longer in his prime, and, you really don't want to see him get, too injured or too hurt or whatever, so I don't know. I mean, I'm going to predict, with what most of you guys have said, and I read that Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page, it's their time to shine, and to make their own name out of the sport. So yeah, I'm gonna give this shot to Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page as much as I like Sting, I don't know, for obvious reasons, I think case it would be more appropriate to have the newer generation, quote unquote, Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page win this.
I think Sting is eventually going to have, if not one I know for sure, but he could possibly have 2 matches left in him. I'll get back to that in a second. I think that Darby and Sting are going to lose this because Darby's going to lose, and that's possibly going to build a match between Darby and Sting, which, he trusts Sting, and Sting will only wrestle those that he trusts. So he's at that point in his career. And I know for a fact he's not going to hang up the boots permanently until Cody gets his dream match with Sting and gets that, under his belt. So as of right now, I'm going to give it to Sting and Darby Allin losing. But I think it's going to be because of something Darby does. Like, he's going to do something that's going to make Sting go, really? Like, get pissed off at him or something. And then Darby's going to lose. And Sting's going to kind of build a match between him and Darby. That's at least what I guess is going to happen. But I think Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky especially need the victory, because they need to build their own kind of brand, so to speak, and kind of build themselves up more.
There we go. So it's going to be a tough one. But yeah, I think a lot of it kind of relies on I haven't really heard any news or anything about like if it's gonna be a cinematic match or not and everything. But I do agree though. I do agree the tag matches and stuff have kind of helped Sting get by cinematic stuff and tag matches. But I mean, sooner or later he's gonna have some kind of final one-on-one match, and yeah, I mean, probably will be Cody versus Sting or whatever. But at least he still made more of a name of himself here as opposed to WWE. That's all I'm asking. Just give him more of a name here, and just don't whatever and no fucking buckle bombs, Cody, and whatever. But yeah. So the next match we have here is the Young Bucks, aka the Dumb Fucks, and whatever else names you guys want to give them. Matt Jackson and Nick Jackson with Don Callis backing them versus Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston. And I don't know, based on all the talk and based on all the shenanigans they've been doing, and I just like the whole promo, the whole thing about like, if you're gonna run with me, you're gonna do what's necessary. And it looks like Eddie is just as down and dirty as Moxley is. I really hope that Moxley and Eddie are gonna basically fuck these guys up, for lack of a better term, and hopefully win this one.
I don't know. I kind of give it to the Young Bucks, but considering it's Moxley and Kingston, they're not going to get away unscathed. They are going to get their asses beat. Like I said, this is two high flyers versus two brawlers, two perfectly technical brawlers, and frankly, as far as I'm concerned, yeah, the Young Bucks are probably going to come up with some sort of last-minute cheat to get the win, but they are not going to come out unscathed. I guarantee somebody's going to be on the injury list for a while.
This is kind of hard to predict because, let's face it, Young Bucks have won far too many matches that, in the past we even thought that they would have lost. But I guess AEW, wink wink, have their favorites. So, sometimes they're kind of like in favor of the Young Bucks, even though it's like, why at this point? So personally, I just want the Young Bucks to lose already. I'm tired. I'm tired of their gimmicks. I'm tired of seeing too many flips and this and that and all the stuff they do on the ring. It's just like, enough. We're done with that shit.
Oh, so you don't want no more super kick party?
So, yeah, I mean, the funny thing is that I'm not even like a big fan of Jon Moxley or anything like that, but whatever it takes for the Young Bucks to lose, I'm down for it.
You've been hanging around with Ricky Rocks too much.
And me. Don't forget me. I hate him too. I hated them before it was cool.
I hated the Young Bucks before it was cool.
Exactly. With that being said, I guess I'll go next. The Young Bucks aren't going to lose. They're not going to lose. I mean, yeah, they're just not going to lose. Although, well, actually, you know what? I don't know. That's the problem. Both Moxley and the Young Bucks have the cheat code to every match turning everyone they fight into a jobber. So, problem is, yeah, I'm just gonna say screw it. The Young Bucks retain.
Get out.
This one's actually one that I'm struggling with this one because I don't think the Young Bucks need to lose the belts here. But I love the idea of Moxley and Kingston getting, their comeuppance on the Young Bucks and walking out with the gold, because it'd be fun to watch these guys run with the tag belts for a while. But this one's not an easy decision because you can go either way with this. I am 110% going to piss off everyone. I tell you, I am a huge Young Bucks fan. I have been since day one. They're two of the nicest guys I've ever met. They were down to earth, and I know a lot of people think they've either killed the business. They're too about spots. They're not about psychology. You know what? There's enough psychology in the sport of professional wrestling. The Bucks are the flash in the pan. I like the sizzle with the steak. So I love the kids. I really do. And they're not even kids anymore. They're not even that young anymore. I mean, they're grown-ups. They got kids. You know, they are the Heath Slater of AEW. So if I had to pick, I think the Bucks escape barely. Something's going to happen. There's going to be shenanigans, whether it's Nakazawa, Brandon Cutler, whatever the case may be. They've got a lot of options. I think they're able to escape, to hold on to the belts, fight another day. I think Moxley and Kingston get another shot, but I think down the line it's going to be no DQ or some type of like street fight rules where they'll get the shot and they'll get the win and the belts. But I think for this point in time, I'm sticking with my all heels wins for the theme of the show, and I'm taking the Bucks with the win and to retain the belts.
And on a random side note, a lot of the reason why people hate the Young Bucks has nothing to do with their in-ring capabilities, actually. It has everything to do with the fact that they are essentially Shawn Michaels in the 90s. And if you know anything about wrestling history, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yes,
They are essentially the Click 2.0 in the fact that literally everyone that was associated with them that is no longer associated with them have said the same thing. They've never been about their in-ring acumen. They've never been about the in-ring technology, the chemistry that they have, any of that. They don't care about any of that. They care everything about sales. I mean, even Adam Cole said that. Tama Tonga said that. They said all they've ever cared about is money. They've never cared about doing anything but making money, which is important in this industry, but you also have to have the respect for everyone else in the industry. But the Bucks don't have any respect for anyone except who's in their little bubble. That's why so many people hate them, is because it's a lack of respect, but it's also this self-entitlement from the Bucks at the same time. Like, they feel that they're owed, and yet they don't reciprocate that same respect. Unless they like you, and then they like you, then you get all the pushes. But if they don't like you, you ain't getting jack shit. So it's really fucked up that that's how they are. That really is how they are. Like, how they are on TV, not now, but how they are on Being the Elite. I mean, realistically, just think about Being the Elite is 90% of it is just them bragging about shit. Like, it's not even comedy sketches. It's mostly like, hey, guys, this is what we're going to do. Let's talk about ourselves. Did we mention a new book? Did we mention new sneakers? Did we mention that we got a new neckerchief? Like, no one cares. Just wrestle. Sorry. Enough of my tangent. I apologize.
No, it's justified. Trust me, I've heard the stories. And Nick and Matt have not done anything to smooth over the tensions between them and many of a wrestler in the locker room. And it's unfortunate because these guys were given a lot of talent. And for boys that they were bragging about being raised in a Christian family and being close to God and everything, for them to be all about money, it's a little ironic. But if you know anything about churches, you know that it's always about money in the end. So I guess everything kind of holds true to what you've just said about, these guys talking about the Bucks, about what they really are and who they truly are when the camera's on and when it's off. And it's just unfortunate. Like I said, all the talent in the world, but not an ounce of respect and dignity, and that's just sad, really.
Look, my issue with the Young Bucks has zero to do with what they do in the ring. It is zero to do with what they do in the ring. If you just based it off their in-ring talent, I would say, yeah, they are one of the greatest tag teams in the world. I'm not ever going to discredit them on their in-ring ability. I'm solely discrediting them as individuals. It's kind of like the same way my issue with Roman Reigns, but in reverse. Like, my old issue with Roman Reigns was his in-ring work sucked, but as an individual, he's fantastic. Now, he's finally at a place where his in-ring work is really good, and he is a really good person. So it's kind of like, just balance it out. That's all I ask, I think if they kind of, like, push themselves off the heels of their own shit, like, if they stop farting in cups and smelling it and telling everyone it smells like Pinot Grigio, and just go out there and wrestle.
Don't tell them that. They'll start bottling that up and selling on Pro Wrestling Tees.
Super Kick 1!